Let us understand how to use nested switch statement and some of the very important rules while you're working with switch statement. Like we have seen how to use nested if else statement, right? Writing if else statement inside another if else statement is basically called as nested if else statement. Same like you can also use nested switch statement. We don't use nested switch statement regularly, but still Java allows you to nest one switch inside another switch statement. So the syntax looks something like this, where you write switch with a choice, and inside case, if you want to nest another switch, like again switch of condition, then you can write the case block. So each and every case you can nest another switch block. That is how you write nested switch block. We don't get much requirements of using nested switch statement. That's why we're not demonstrating it, but still it is possible. Now let us understand what are the important rules to work with switch statement.
Hey, thanks for watching our content so far. If you're new to Training Monk, we're the fastest growing technology training company and create content to help freshers like you to master the disruptive technologies like full stack development, AML, cloud, DevOps, etc. If you like the content so far, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon not to miss any new content from us. Like and share this video with all your friends. Let's build your career and the community together.
To demonstrate that, let me take a new Java class and then call this as rules switch statement. So now here I'm now taking my main method and now writing my rules. So the first and foremost rule is the choice must be evaluated to either int, char, string or enum type only. That is what we already discussed. This is what is one of the fundamental rules. So suppose we are taking int day is equal to 3 or 5, whatever the number. So when you say switch of choice, right, so this choice you have to pass the appropriate data type, and then according to that data type you have to, the case labels also should be either int, char, string and then enum types. Example, I'm just passing this as 1, right, and then I'll say day 1 or something like that. So what actually happens other than this, if I send it as float, right, so then immediately you might get an error here saying that incompatible data type, found float, required either char, byte, short, int, character, byte, short, integer. These are wrapper classes of these primitives which you will understand in our further courses, and string or an enum. So only these are allowed. Apart from that you should not allow anything. Even long is not allowed, you see. So till byte, short, int you can add, but not long, float or double or whatever, right? So that is what one of the very important thing to note. And second very important thing are the second rule, the value that whatever you pass also is same. Suppose if I pass 1.5, so then again you're going to get an error, say that hey, you provided double, but what actually basically required is int, right? So that is what is the first rule. And now the second rule. So now we'll just try to understand the second rule. Rule 2 is duplicate cases are not allowed. So what do you mean by this is, if one case is matching the value, should not give the duplicate cases. Example, suppose I'm just writing the switch again, switch of day, then I'm going to write case 1 and then I'll say day 1, and suppose I will say case 2, then s out, say day 2, and here if I say case 1 again, so it is going to give me an error saying that you have a duplicate case. So now it says that hey, 1 is already there, so duplicate case or duplicate label for that particular case is not allowed. So you can give a different value for this, and you can use different values for these cases. Okay, so that is what is the third rule that we discussed, and this is not allowed, so I'm just commenting it out. Okay, so now let us understand rule number 3. 3 is you can use different data types. When I say different data types, it could be the int, char, string, enum within case labels. Okay, so what do you mean by this is, suppose for a single switch you can have different kinds of case labels. Example, I'm just saying switch of day, right? I'll say case 1. Okay, so now I'll say sout day 1, and now here I'll say case A or something like that, just to demonstrate. It doesn't make any sense here, but I'll say day 2. So like this, we have use ints, character, and then other than that you can pass different values of strings and enums, which we can see in our further sessions. This is what is rule number 3. And then the rule number 4 is default is optional. So default is optional. You want to write, you can write it, or if you don't want to write default, you can just ignore that. And can be written anywhere in switch. So it's not like it should be always at the end of your switch statement. You can write wherever. Okay, so example, I'll say switch of day, right? So now I'm going to say case 1, or maybe I'll just directly start with the default, right? And then I'll say sout, right, invalid day or something like that. So then I will say case 1, right, sout day 1, and case 2 sout day 2 or something like that. So now what I initialize here is day is equals to 3 or something like that, right? So now let me run this code to see what output I'll get. Now if you can look at this, now before this I will just write sout rule 4 just to differentiate, right? Let me rerun. So in rule 4, what basically is happening is it is now printing me invalid day, because day is 3 and none of the cases are matching. So default, it is printing invalid day, day 1 and day 2. Why it is printing day 1 and day 2? Because after default we did not break, so it continues all the case executions, right? So now if you want to break this, so you have to write break here. So now save it and then run. So it is now going to give only invalid day. So it is very important that you write break in all cases, and whenever you write default at the top or wherever you want, you also need to write break. So if it is at the end, break is optional, but if you write default wherever, so definitely you have to write break. So these are some of the rules that you have to follow while you work with switch statement.